Hello everyone, I'm Umayma Abdullah Ansari from Zayed University, and I will be talking about one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which is Goal 15, named Life on Land. First, as defined by Thomas, sustainability is the capacity to consistently maintain or support a process through time. In other words, sustainability is us meeting our own needs without jeopardizing the future generations' needs. So, the United States have improved this goal, which is sustainability, by making 17 Sustainable Development Goals that are now applied by many countries, including the UAE. So in this presentation, I will focus on one of these goals only, as I said before, which is Sustainable Development Goal 15, called Life on Land. This presentation will go through the reasons why we need this objective, which is Goal 15, and we will also talk about the actions that must be taken to accomplish it, and some examples from the UAE. So what exactly is Sustainable Development Goal 15 and why is it named Life on Land? What is its aim basically? Sustainable Development Goal 15, named Life on Land, aims to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems. Terrestrial ecosystem means land basically. This goal also aims to sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. Sustainable Development Goal 15 will be accomplished with the support of these 12 targets. So we will be starting with the first target, which is conserving and restoring terrestrial and freshwater ecosystem. This target determines the percentage of land that is covered by forests. Why exactly forests? Because 30% of the Earth's surface is covered by forests. Forests are really essential to our environment because they prevent climate change, they preserve biodiversity, and they also protect the homes of many animals. Forests can either be conserved, lost, or increased. In the latest 20 years, sadly, forest area has been decreased by about 100 million hectares, which is obviously too much. What led to this decrease is urbanization, mining, agriculture, fire, and overcrowding. How can we stop forest deterioration? The governments can implement some regulations like prohibiting tree chopping. Moving on to the second target, which is ending deforestation and restoring degraded forests. This target has 5 sub-indicators. The first one is annual forest area change. Another indicator is above ground biomass stock. The third indicator is the proportion of forest areas that are located in legally established and protected areas. The fourth indicator is the proportion of forest area under long-term management by many organizations and plans. The last sub-indicator is forest area under independently verified forest managements. So how can we stop this? Governments can impose some rules and restrictions on specific activities like camping, farming, raising livestock, and forest damaging practices. The third target is ending desertification and restoring degraded lands. You will notice a huge similarity between the third and the second target. However, the only difference is that this third target focuses on lands. So this target is meant to be achieved by 2030, so there is a lot of time for countries to try achieving it. Desertification is a method through which a rich area becomes into a desert by losing its wildlife and plants. How can governments stop any rich area from becoming a desert? First off, people should begin practicing farming so that they can grow more plants. People should always limit their consumption and care for the environment. Moving on to the fourth target, which is ensuring conservation of mountain ecosystem. This target has 2 sub-indicators. The first one is the covering of crucial locations for mountain biodiversity by protected areas. The second one is meant by the Mountain Green Cover Index, which measure the proportion of mountain regions that are filled with greenery. So there are many mountains that are being destroyed or that are being through some changes. So what can the governments do or people themselves do to stop mountains from being destroyed or lost? First off, people must realize that that mountains are among the locations that are most vulnerable to the effects of climate change and that many of human activities can destroy them. The governments can limit some of these activities, which include cattle, mining, energy production, and tourism. The fifth target is protecting biodiversity and natural habitats. Biodiversity means living organisms. So this target monitors changes in the proportion of species that are likely to be surviving soon. So what are some factors that causes any species to not survive or to go extinct? These factors are habitat loss, which is when animals lose their home, and genetic diversity loss. So how do these two happen? First, habitat loss happens usually by natural disasters. So for example, dinosaurs. They lost their environment around 1 million years ago because of the dry weather, and that's why they went extinct. And also genetic diversity loss, it happens naturally. So how can the government or people themselves try to stop a species from going extinct? First, governments can restrict overfishing and overhunting. The sixth target is promoting access to genetic resources and fair sharing of benefits. What are genetic resources in the first place? It is any plant, animal, or microorganism that has been studied by traits and then used to create a particular product. Genetic resources can be very helpful in the new technology and medicine. However, when they are overused, they can cause animals and plants to go extinct. So, to not cause this huge damage, people should understand the complexity of using genetic resources. Government can also encourage some college students to major in genetic resources. Going on to the seventh target, which aims to eliminate poaching and the trafficking of protected species. What is poaching? Poaching is the illegal killing and trafficking of animals. In South Africa, trafficking has been significantly increased in recent years, endangering the survival of many species. You should always understand that animals should never be traded or sold as pets unless their owners will not stop them from reproducing. The eighth target aim is to prevent invasive alien species on land and water ecosystems. What are invasive alien species? This term refers to any non-native plant, animal, or disease or any other creature that can disrupt the economy, the environment, or the human health. This target measures the percentage of the nations that have allocated enough resources for managing these alien species. To do that, governments should always start by educating their citizens. The ninth goal is integrating ecosystem and biodiversity in governmental planning. This target focuses on the government's plan in integrating ecosystem and biodiversity. Great number of nations are making insufficient headway toward achieving this goal. And as this goal was expected to be met by 2020, how can we make countries achieve this goal? Governments should include environmental and biodiversity considerations in regional and national planning development. Moving to the next target. It aims to increase financial resources to conserve and sustainably use ecosystem and biodiversity. This target demonstrates or determines governmental spending and official development aid on biodiversity and ecological preservation. Governments should always aim to increase their profit. The next target is about finance and incentivize sustainable forest management. This target is very similar to the one before it. However, it focuses on forest management. How can a government achieve this target? By investing money in making the forests healthier. The last goal is for combat global poaching and trafficking. It estimates the percentage of species that were illegally or formally exchanged. So governments need to firmly prohibit animal poaching and cruelty. UAE is one of the nations that showed great accomplishment toward SDG 15. Many abbreviations and companies are made for such achievements. Examples of these abbreviations are UAE Vision 2021, UAE Continental 2021, and the UAE Green Growth Strategy. Sustainability is one of the most significant ideas that makes a country more developed. This is why the United States have established the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. This presentation concentrated on the Goal 15, which is called Life on Land.